All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Shakespeare wrote that centuries ago, and nowhere is it more true than at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly. Because in just a few weeks, the world's leaders will gather, not to end wars, not to rescue hostages, not to stand up to tyranny. No, no, no. They'll gather for the grandest theatre production on earth, recognizing a state that doesn't actually exist. It's a performance of empty virtue signaling, a pageant of self-congratulation, a competition to see who can out-virtue the other. And the prize? Conjuring into existence the so-called State of Palestine. Now, the irony is kind of delicious. Many of the countries who will support this resolution, countries like France, Britain, Canada, and Australia, love to lecture Israel about international law. But when it comes to Palestine, suddenly the law goes out the window. See, the Montevideo Convention of 1933, kind of like International Law 101, says a state needs 4 things: a permanent population, defined borders, a functioning government, and the ability to enter into relations with other states. Palestine, it fails on nearly all counts. No borders, no single government, just a corrupt and unpopular Palestinian Authority that supports terrorism in the areas known as the West Bank, and the Hamas terrorist regime in Gaza. As for international relations, well, Hamas prefers rockets over diplomacy. Recognizing Palestine as a state is like recognizing a mirage in the desert as a source of water. It's a true triumph of fantasy over reality. That's why this whole show at the UN is nothing more than a performative exercise in pointless posturing. The actors will strut, the speeches will soar, the applause will thunder. It will be billed as the greatest show on earth. But in truth, it's a political circus. And after the lights go out and the applause fades, will hostages be freed? Will Hamas lay down its arms? Will peace break out? Of course not. Every time peace beckoned through offers of a state in 1947, 2000, 2008, Palestinian leaders have chosen war instead. Since 1994, the Palestinian Authority has been showered with money, recognition, diplomatic prestige, and what did it deliver? Corruption, incitement, glorification of terrorists. A generation raised not for peace, but for endless conflict. When Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005, it was the perfect test, a chance for the Palestinians to build prosperity, peace, and hope. But instead of Singapore on the Med, we got Terroristan on the sea. They built sophisticated underground tunnel networks and used them to stage the bloodiest massacres of Jews since the Holocaust. Imagine what they could have achieved if they built schools and hospitals above ground instead of terror tunnels below it. And now, unbelievably, their constant rejection of peace is being rewarded with statehood. Leaders in Britain, France, Canada, and Australia say this strengthens moderates and isolates Hamas. Moderates? Hamas literally praised the move. And when terrorists are celebrating your policy, you might want to rethink it. Meanwhile, anti-Semitism is exploding. In Australia alone, it's up 316%. Jews are harassed in the streets, synagogues are burnt, and businesses are attacked. And yet, governments still point the finger at Israel. This recognition isn't about peace, it's about theatre. It tells the world terror works. Massacres are rewarded and violence gets you a state. The world stage may be broken, the actors corrupt, the play absurd. But the Jewish people, they'll keep looking higher. Because at the same time the UN indulges in its tragic farce, Jews will be doing something else. At that very moment when speeches of pointless platitudes will be roaring and echoing in the not-so-hallowed halls of the United Nations, Jews will be celebrating Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. It's a time of renewal, reflection, and the hope for a sweeter and better new year. We will be looking for a brighter future of hope, while the supporters of this political farce will remain stuck in the same bitter end cycle of the past.